Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's episode where I'm going to walk you through simple strategies to double your sales. I'm Mariana Dalto. I'm a 10X certified business coach with Grant Cardone. I'll be sharing effective tactics to enhance your sales using follow-up. This is super, super important for your business in order to help you drive your sales. So sales don't always end on the first call. The fortune truly lies on really doing follow-up with all your leads that you have. So let's start with a shocking fact that over 30% of leads are never contacted at all, which this is crazy. So you do so much work getting all those leads and people don't follow up and don't contact them. So a study by MIT and Harvard shows that salespeople miss out on tremendous opportunities by not consistently following up. So today, I will discuss a few things. One, the facts about follow-up and the importance of it, the 6 pillars of effective follow-up, and how to avoid common mistakes so you can shortcut yourself to success. I also created a simple follow-up guide that you can download from the show notes in this episode. So that can help you kind of learn and implement the strategies that I'm going to mention to you. So it'll be kind of a refresh of what you're going to learn, and you can really take the next steps to really implement these strategies. And I promise you, it's really going to help you to increase your sales. So let's go first and start with the facts about following up. What are the key things that that really helps you impact your sales? So an overlooked advantage of follow-up is that people do not nurture the relationships that they have, and that really impacts closing deals. So 79% of the leads never convert simply because the lack of nurturing, the lack of continuing the conversation with those leads, to following up with them. Persistence, speed, and consistency are critical in the process of following up. Studies reveal that following up within the first 5 minutes increases your chances tenfold of reaching the lead. That's first. And then 70% of companies actually do that. So imagine if you can really put a process in place in your company to make sure that when a lead comes in, you reach out to them right away within the first 5 minutes that you get that lead. Another essential fact that I wanted to share is that you need to make multiple follow-up attempts, right? On average, 6 attempts increase your success rate by about 90%. Most salespeople stop after 1 or 2 tries, missing the opportunity to convert leads. So on average, if you follow up 6 times, it can get you a 90% success rate. But to be honest, between 6 to 12 is kind of like what you need to do. And depending on the type of business that you have and the services that you provide, it'll be different. But most salespeople do 1 or 2 follow-up, and that is where that is where you're losing money, because you're not implementing that key strategy. So in summary, whatever you're selling, you need to follow up if you want to make the sale. So in today's show, I am going to focus on this topic, right? And the information that I'm going to share is based on Grant Cardone's training from my 10X business coach certification. If you're not familiar with Grant Cardone, he's an international renowned speaker on leadership, real estate investment, entrepreneurship, social media, and finance. He's the #1 Forbes list of the 25 marketing influencers to watch. And he's also the author of several best-selling books on sales, entrepreneurship, real estate, and marketing. He has 7 privately held companies that have annual revenues exceeding 100 million. So I wanted to bring that up to you. So that everything that I'm teaching you and I'm explaining to you, it's part of what I learned from Grant, and he's so successful, and this works. So pay attention, take notes, or get the free resource, because this is about to change your business. So I'm going to focus in two major areas today. We're going to talk about the 6 pillars of effective follow-up, and then how to avoid these mistakes and how that can help you shortcut yourself to success. Okay, so let's go first to or go over the 6 pillars of effective follow-up. Number 1 is commitment. You must be all in on this. It is not just a one-time activity that you just go and follow up 1, 2, 3 times. It requires persistence and dedication. It is not a one-time action, and if you have a continuous process on following up every single lead, not a few of them, every single lead consistently 6 to 12 times, you will see results in your sales. The other thing, the second pillar is having a CRM system, which is a customer relationship management system. This is the best tool for you to track and to manage data. This system is so strong that can really allow you to really organize your data, all your customer information, all your store key information, information that you have about the customer. It can be stored in the CRM, and it'll really fuel how you do any follow-up efforts in the future, right? So you get everything organized in one place. You know that you have the leads that come in, and you have a system to follow them up 6 to 12 times in order to get results. The third piece is organization. Creating a daily follow-up schedule and stick to it is important, right? So set the time each day to contact your leads and keep everything organized for maximum impact. It's good if you just clean your workspace and keep all the customer information in the CRM. And then you can go back in the notes section of the CRM to make sure that you know what follow-up you have done with the customer, and then keep your information updated. The other thing that is super important is scripts. Have a clear reason for your call or the type of follow-up that you do. Scripts really help you stay focused and deliver the right message without rambling, and and it really will increase efficiency on how you follow up, because you have a plan on what you're going to say and what is the purpose of that follow-up. So having scripts is super important. The next one is accountability. You gotta hold yourself accountable for following up consistently. Again, this is key. You can't just do it one week and the other week you don't. You gotta do it with all the leads and consistently every day, and have this system in place. Whether it's you, it's a manager in your team, it's a mentor, ensure that everyone is on track with the system so you don't lose track of what's happening with all the people that are contacting your business. And the last one is unreasonable attitude. What do I mean by that? So adapt that mindset of pushing yourself to be consistent with the follow-up. Be persistent, even if it feels uncomfortable because you've been following up a lot. And I know that's why people don't do it often. And that's why this is such a super impactful strategy for success. Follow up often as necessary, helps really to close the sale. It just works. So again, success will lie being persistent with it. So if you do that, then you'll see results. So again, let's go back and summarize the 6 pillars of effective follow-up. Number 1 is commitment. Number 2 is having a system, a CRM, that you can get your data organized and you can have automation set up. Organization, you need to be organized. Have scripts so you know what you're saying. Be accountable to yourself and have an unreasonable attitude. Okay? Now, the second topic that I wanted to talk to you about is avoid those mistakes that can help you shortcut your success, right? And here I'm gonna mention 9 of them. Again, take notes, or you can take the free resource that I put in the show notes, but this is important as well to really impact your business. So not making the call is one of the mistakes that people make a lot. So the most basic mistake in following up is not making the call. Consistency is crucial. If you do not reach out, you will never make the sale. It won't happen magically. You gotta make the call. Another mistake is not making enough calls. It takes persistence. It takes more than 1 or 2 calls. 6 calls is kind of like the magic number for most sales, but most deals are closed after multiple attempts. So do not stop too early. And also, you may make calls and they might not answer. So, that kind of counts, but you still need to try to talk. You will leave a voicemail, so that counts as an attempt to calling them and giving them, doing a follow-up via, a call and leaving a voicemail. Always leave a voicemail, but you gotta be consistent, minimum 6 to 12 calls, follow-ups. There's different ways to follow up. It doesn't have to be always a call, but a call is one of those that is very important to do. Another mistake is making random calls. What do I say that? Follow a consistent schedule rather than making sporadic calls here and there. This will really build trust and will show professionalism to your lead, right? They know that you're calling. They might miss the first call, the second call, the email, the text, but if you have a schedule, if you have a plan on how you're doing it, you will look professional doing it. So that's something also that people miss, having a plan. Then the lack of variety or options, methods that you can use when you're following up. As I said earlier, it doesn't have to be just calls. It could be text, it could be emails, it could be a personal visit. You want to keep the follow-up fresh, like do different things that can continue the connection with the lead, right? Not just phone calls or just emails. The next mistake that I see happening a lot is no clear purpose. Every follow-up, you should have a specific reason why you're doing the follow-up, really communicating to the prospect what you want to say. Like, you have to have a plan. And that's why when I talked earlier about scripts, it's important. So you have a plan of what you're going to say. And if you have a sequence of follow-up, then also that makes a better way to have a purpose on the different follow-ups to that specific lead. The other thing that I mentioned earlier too is so you need to make calls, right? Leave a message. People don't leave messages. So if you call and you don't leave a message, that doesn't work. You gotta leave a voicemail, a message to tell them who you are, why you call, what's the purpose of your call. You gotta be persistent on that one as well. The other thing is not collecting critical data. So when you're doing a follow-up, when you're talking to them, gather essential information during that contact with your lead, because this could help with future sales, future communications. The more data you capture and you put in your CRM, the more it'll help keep you organized and keep all the information in one place. I mean, if you have a lot of leads, it's hard to remember everything. So you really, even if you have 5, it doesn't matter. I mean, you really need to, when you start talking with so many customers and leads, the data gets all confused. So if you have it in one place or organized, it will really make your life easier. The other one that is key that people don't do or do very lightly is not asking for referrals. You need to leverage your customers to gain new leads. So if you've done a good job with the service or the product that you sold the customer, then that's a good sign that you can connect with that customer and ask for a referral for another lead. And then the last point that I wanted to make is not getting organized. Again, we talked about that, but disorganization leads to missed follow-up opportunities and also loss of sales, right? So you gotta stay structured. This is why it's so important to have a CRM in place. If you have questions about, again, a CRM, how that works, what kind of CRM, what kind of automation is to set up, I can help you with that. Feel free to set up a free call, and I'm happy to share the simplest version of a CRM or more complicated, depending on the type of business that you have and how you've been in business and what you do. But it's super important to have that handy. So then it simplifies your time, your life, the time that you spend on your business, and it gives you professionalism, the way people see you and interact with you. So in summary, sales is about persistence and effective communication. Follow up consistently, build relationships, and never stop nurturing your leads. You can do email sequences. That's, again, part of using the CRM. Give them value to your leads. This is really key to continue the conversation and stay on top of people's minds in your list, right? So embrace these strategies, avoid these common mistakes that I just mentioned today, and watch your sales grow. I hope you found this episode helpful for you to grow and double your sales in your business. And as I mentioned in the beginning of this episode, if you want the follow-up guide, you can get it from the show notes. That will help you, remind you on the things that you need to really do and avoid, so then you can implement, and then you can move forward and have clarity for your business on what to do to double your revenue. Okay, thank you, and see you next time.